Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for giving up your cold Thursday night. But at least it's not raining, so we can still enjoy a cigar.
Oh, Scott.
Sorry,
Everybody.
sorry, Scott. Just unmute yourself, please. Sorry.
So, Paul,
The scrolling very quickly.
First time he does this.
I'm sure the guys in Tor have wanted to do that many times.
Well, Scott.
So, anyway, thank you very much indeed, Mitchell, for allowing us, and Paul and AJ for letting us take over the room tonight. Before we start, I'd like to say a big happy birthday to two people in the room. Tobias, I think, was yesterday, and Ricardo from the Nicaraguan embassy was Tobias was Tuesday. And,
Monday, actually, but thank you so much. Brilliant.
There you go. So happy birthday, Tobias, and happy birthday to Ricardo. This is how to celebrate your birthday. Yeah. So I'd also like to congratulate Mitchell and the team at C.Gars for the announcement we saw on Facebook last night for the new store in St. James. We look forward to that.
Thank you, Scott.
Very excited by that indeed. So congratulations. And then tonight is very much a chance for you to meet the makers. So we have the Casa Turrent family all the way from Mexico. So in the room we have Alejandro Turrent. We have his father, Alberto. Good evening, sir.
Aye.
We also have Miguel, who hopefully is out on the farm.
He's in the fields. And Scott, let me just a small announcement. Also, my other cousin, his name is Gerardo. He will be joining us also to show you other process of the tobacco fields.
Fantastic. So we're bringing the whole Turrent family to us tonight from Mexico, which is fantastic. And then somewhere on the screen we have a chap, David, who one or two you may recognize, who is now the ambassador for Turrent based in Holland. So welcome, David.
Hello, everyone.
So we then move north slightly to Key West, and we're joined tonight by Paul Menta, who's the owner of the Key West first legal rum distillery, which is quite a mouthful to say, who has just appointed C.Gars as the UK and EU importer for his rum. So welcome, Paul. And
nice to be here, guys.
Hope you have a great night. So what I would like to do, please, we also have Andrea Turrent in the room, who's Alejandro's sister. And I think the last time she saw me, I think I was singing in the back garden of Alberto's house very badly.
Without shirt. No, just kidding.
I'm just hoping there's not a video.
Hi, hello, good afternoon. Nice to see everyone.
Good evening.
We can't see you, Andrea. You need to put your camera on.
Yes, 1 second. Sorry about that.
It's all right. We've got the whole Turrent family. It's very impressive. I might get my wife and daughter to come on as well, make it a real family affair.
This is a family business, Mitchell. This is a real family affair tonight.
No doubt about it. I'd like to welcome Nick, because where are you, Nick? Hey, Nick, you're in the boat, man. Oh, the Herf is not a Herf without you in the boat. Honestly, I was completely put off my stride when you were in the house the other day. God, forget that.
The weather's beautiful down here. I've got the fire on outside. It's fabulous, and congratulations on the new place.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. And nice to meet you, Paul. I know you know my partner, Ron Morrison, rather well. Can you hear me, Paul?
Very nice to meet you. Yep, very nice to meet you.
Thank you. I hear that you jump off the side of boats with the casks at times for various according to Ron.
Yeah, boats, airplanes, whatever they have available.
Well, if you're ever around with Ron and you're on the boat, you can jump off with him as well and see if you can really.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
But who would you save? Anyway, If you can all keep yourself on mute tonight, please, and if you've got questions as the evening progresses, type them into the chat room. We'll keep a note of them as we go along, and then we'll get you the opportunity to ask Alejandro, Alberto, Miguel, Amanda, everybody, Paul, questions as we go along. And obviously, we hope you enjoy tonight, and we hope you enjoy the cigars and the rum. So, if I start with Alejandro, we've only been working together for 18 months, and Alejandro lays claim to being the first cigar maker to come to our warehouse in Devon. I've known him for quite a long time, and then last January, February, I got a phone call at the office saying, "Hey, where are you on the 9th of May?" And I said, "Well, I'm in the office." He said, "Good, because I'm coming to see you." So he came all the way from Mexico, took a train from Heathrow down to Devon, and we spent a night in cold. Well, I thought it was warm, but it wasn't warm for Alejandro, in the Dartmoor Lodge Hotel, and that's where we agreed to work together. Then the next morning, I get a phone call from the hotel saying, "Hey, that guy that was staying there last night has left without paying."
That Mexican.
And he's taking the room key with him, and we only have one room key for that room. So I didn't know this, but Alejandro owns the hotel, pays the bill, and sends a taxi from the railway station back to the hotel with the key. So there you go. So that's how we started working together. So to start with, Alejandro, we've got two magnificent cigars from you tonight. The 1880. We've got the Claro and the Maduro. While you were texting with Amanda, people were asking which one to start with. My answer basically is we've got an hour and a half, so these are big beasts at 6.5 by 55, so we have time for one. So my suggestion is the Maduro to go with the rum. But can you please introduce the cigars that we're smoking tonight, please?
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much, and on behalf of my family, well, we are very happy and thankful to have this opportunity to share Casa Turrent cigars in UK with people from UK and from other places. Thank you so much, and of course, also thank you, Scott, for all the effort that you have put behind to make this happen, and of course, other events. And thank you so much for your support. Also, of course, all your team, Alan, etc. And well, it's a privilege to be here today with a group of cigar enthusiastic. And well, this time we are degustating Casa Turrent Claro and Maduro. And what I can tell you, well, as we go on, I'll explain more and more about the cigars. But right now, what I can tell you is that it is our top line. It is a very exclusive cigar. It's a limited production. It's not a limited edition. That's different, and it's made with tobaccos that have been aged from 10 to 12 years, and the wrapper between 4 and 5 years. So it is a very, very special one. So please, as you are getting some notes, please let me know if you have some questions. What I can tell you about just a little bit about the flavor notes about these cigars is that in the Maduro, what you will find probably right away, it will be some notes of wet soil, or let's say a little bit a nice earthiness, a lot of sweetness, different kinds. You get some caramel type of sweetness, some chocolate type of sweetness, a little bit toasty, and well, I can go on and on. But what I want to also tell you about these cigars is that the aging on the tobacco was a nice coincidence. It was really not meant to be done on purpose. When we were trying to make something special, something really special, we looked all our inventory, which is a lot of tobacco that we have from previous years, and we found this tobacco that comes from small batches that throughout the process, we put it aside. It stays away because it's not regularly used in our current lines, no, or it was not used. So we just put it aside, and well, it time passed by, and suddenly we had some amount of it, and we started to play. That's how you create blends. And of course, we tried with other tobaccos that were in the same situation, no, with tobaccos that were not used back then. So we found some, of course, that were great, some, of course, that were not that good, but we picked the ones that we believe that could offer a very unique character, a lot of flavor, some strength, and well, just please enjoy them, and let me know if you have any question during the session. And well, first, I don't know if you want to add something, Scott, right now, or should I keep?
All I was going to make the point, Alejandro, is that you've brought it out tonight in the sampler packs that everybody has purchased. They have the Claro and the Maduro. But if you want to go the whole hog, they also have Oscuro and also the Colorado. So there's a selection of 4. They're all the same size. I mean, how many of these are you making a day, Alejandro? It's not many, is it?
No, it's not many. We have only 4 pairs of people making them. Yes, and well, right now there's a huge demand in general, but especially about these cigars. We I can tell you very shortly in few words the story how we develop it. We started with Casa Turrent brand 5 years ago, and we focused in the U.S. market mainly, and we were in a price range that everybody was, all other brands, all other cigar makers, and we were doing okay. But I thought that we should distinguish. We should do something to distinguish from everybody else. And some people were not so convinced about it. And what I mean is that we said, okay, we have to make something that really it's outstanding, and of course it must be at a higher price. And but of course it has to justify the price. Has the flavor. The quality has to justify the price, no? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, so we started with our first, the original Casa Turrent 1880, and it was a really big success. So then we said, okay, let's focus on that segment, and we started. But that was 2 years ago already. No? So we started to play, like I said, with different tobaccos. And then we end up with these 4 lines, no, the Claro, the Oscuro, the Maduro, and the Colorado. Each one having similar tobaccos in terms of the seeds, of the tobacco seeds. Negro, San Andres, different types of Cuban seeds. However, different grades, different agings, different thicknesses, and different proportions, no, in the blend. So my point is that every single one of them, it's completely different, no? So that's how we started. That's a little bit of the story about the 1880 line, no?
Very
so
good.
yeah.
Okay. So Mitchell,
Yes,
if
Scott.
you were offered a cigar from another country with 5 years aged wrapper and a 10 to 12 year aged filler and binder, what price would you expect a 6.5 by 55 to retail at?
Well, I suppose something in the £20 price range because of the excise duty over here.
Yeah.
What is the price?
It's just below the £20. But I think the point I'm making is if it was from another country, perhaps 12 years aged tobacco, it would be considered to be a £30-40 cigar.
Yeah, it could well be.
So I think what Alejandro's tried to do is make a formidable and fantastic cigar at a reasonable price. And
I think
you
he's
know,
done it.
a lot of cigar for your money, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's a big cigar. It's a lot of tobacco.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, where are you in Key West? So, I'm sitting here with an empty glass.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
And I'm sitting here with 2 full bottles. So, which one do we start with, sir, please?
I'd say that possibly you'd want to start with the raw and unfiltered, just because we're going to put a little bit of savory with that Maduro cigar. You have to remember, me and Alejandro, the only thing separating us right now is the Gulf of Mexico. So we're actually pretty close, and both of these bottles, be it both different, the raw and unfiltered is in a brand new American oak barrel. Now, the one thing that I can share with Alejandro, like I said, is the Gulf of Mexico. All those barrels are put into the Gulf of Mexico when I receive them, and we fill them up with salt water, and we let them swell so they don't leak. But the biggest thing we take from that is we're going to get that sea salt. So with the cigar and that little bit of spiciness and nice flavor of that soil from the Maduro in your throat when you drink some of the raw, especially if you're drinking at room temperature. Room temperature here is, 85 degrees. So I'm thinking it's possibly a little bit cooler there when you're drinking it. That little tickle you're going to get in your throat as you bring it down and it gets warm in your chest, that tickle is going to be the magnesium from the salt. It really defines like a very specific flavor that we're going for. So I would suggest starting out with the raw, and then because, like I said, this is a brand new American oak barrel that's been salt cured. I'm going to show you the inside of the barrel in a minute. They're doing a tour in there, and I can actually let you see what's going on. Even to finish with the Bad Bitch. So very quickly, Spanish Marie Bad Bitch. She's aged in a red wine barrel. Minimum 7 years old that I look for. I get them in the Burgundy and the Bordeaux region. I want 7 to 9 years because the tannins have built up in the barrel, and it's what we call neutral at that point. You're not going to get the heavy wood tones. You're going to get a little more cognac-y flavor. You're going to pull out some caramels from the barrel, but it's the tannins that are flavoring this rum because I'm putting the rum in around 74 to 78% when it goes in the barrel to age. And I want to pull those tannins and those flavors for those finishes out from there. Like I said, so the raw and this one are very different. I should make a really strong note. The stuff that you're tasting that I send over for Paul and the guys is specifically handpicked. I don't have 1,000 barrels or 2,000 barrels lying down. I have around 300 to 400. And the barrels, you'll notice if you've looked at anything with these, the bottles and the barrels, there's no age on them. I will not pull it until I feel it's ready. I don't want to be dictated by an age. Generally, the process is, especially with the raw and unfiltered, can be 2.5 years is a really good point. But you have to remember, we're only doing it in a 30-gallon barrel. We found that the 55 or 60-gallon barrels, we don't get the same flavors, and it kind of rushes it. So we're always individually picking out. So what you guys got was, it was finished in late summer, which is really, really good because we have so much humidity and so much expansion and contraction in the barrels that it's really picking up all these specific flavors. And with the cigar, and I mean, you guys can tell me, you're going to find that it's going to change a little bit of the finish of the cigar. If you take some of the raw and unfiltered, which I'll demonstrate. And breathe a little bit of that through your mouth, and then take a nice puff off the cigar, you're going to see how they're going to intermix, and you're really going to get some different flavors going on. A really good rum should give you heat in your chest. You should get a nice bit of warmth in your chest. You shouldn't get burning up in your cheeks and in these areas. If so, they've added glycerin to kind of mask some of the impurities. When I make 40 gallons of high proof rum, bigger establishments have made 5,000 to 6,000 gallons, and they have to do something to remove those oils. I'm able to actually remove those oils and do that. So I hope you'll find this nice little balance with each of these, because they're going to have a different flavor. Probably the bad bitch, you're going to get a little more spiciness with the cigar, and with this one, you're going to taste those oaky flavors, but you'll really get a big hit. It'll taste like vanilla as you get it. But the thing you have to remember, in brand new American oak barrels, when I salt cure them, it's like curing fish or meats. You're going to pull out what's in there is called banana oil. Doesn't necessarily taste like banana, but brings the vanilla up forward much further, and that's why you get a cleaner taste. So I'm really using a lot of chemistry and cooking to make this come out.
We'll come back to you, Paul, in a wee bit. Talk about your chef distillery, as you call it, distillation, and go for a wander around your distillery, please. That would be really cool. And if we can head back to Alejandro, what I'd like to do is just do a general poll. Before tonight, can you kind of put your hand up if you smoked a Mexican cigar before? Okay. So it's there's a few people haven't. Okay, and I've asked that question on purpose because maybe what you don't know about Casa Turrent, and you're about to find out, is that one of the biggest, well, they are the biggest growers of San Andrés tobacco in Mexico. And Alejandro, if you can lead by just mentioning some of the manufacturers who purchase your tobacco and blend into their cigars, maybe the people in the room will think, we have actually smoked your tobacco already. So if you want to
Sure. Well,
take us in.
many factories use our tobacco, and they use it in different brands they make. Some of them are, for example, AJ Fernandez, Drew Estate, Joya de Nicaragua, Oliva, Padron, my father, Pepin, Rocky Patel, etc. There are many brands that are using our tobacco. And well, eventually, Miguel will explain you also, will tell you who other people are using our tobacco, and the big demand that we have of this particular type of tobacco that is originally from San Andres, from our area, which is called Negro San Andres tobacco.
So some of those brands that Alejandro's just flipped off his tongue, I am sure you have tried one of their cigars, or many of their cigars, and without realizing it, you're smoking tobacco grown on Alejandro and his father's farm. So when I think back to when I got involved in cigars, probably just over 10 years ago, if I walked into a retail store, I would see Cuban cigars and I'd see a little bit of Nicaraguan or maybe the odd Honduran or whatever, Dominican on the bottom shelf. And that was what the industry consisted of. And I think one of the objectives we have established with Alejandro and his team is that they're making fantastic cigars. And I think as people, as you hopefully endorse tonight, as you get to try it, we hope that you try to explore the Casa Turrent range and figure out that actually, cigars don't have to be from any country. They are as good quality across the world. And Alejandro and his team are leading the way in what is happening with Mexico. So, talking about heritage, Alberto, you thought you were coming here to do nothing tonight. So the business started in 1880s, making you the oldest independent tobacco farmers left on the planet. So would you like to just take us through? You've got 5 minutes to give us the snapshot history of Casa Turrent. Take us through the history, please, and tell us all about it.
Okay, well, the family, my grandfather, he began in 1880, and I am the fourth generation. I have working just, this is the 60 crop that I will have in November. In other words, all the family is working there. It's a family company. We began the cigar business in 1975. We bought this company, and now in the family is Miguel and Gerardo. They work on the fields, Alejandro in the factory, and well, I inspect everyone. And
You're the boss.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I don't know if what do you want now to look at that we make in the farms, or you prefer that Alejandro explain about the cigar?
I was going to ask if you could just do a little bit of history on the cigars, because obviously you've got the 1880 range, which for those that were listening, I guess means goes back to the very, very beginning. But then you've purposely picked the dates of your cigars. I guess one of them is your birth year, one of them is Alejandro's birth year, and so on. So you've got, so not just do you keep it in the family, all your cigars relate to the family. So if you could take me through the Casa Turrent, the landmark dates, and the Origiane, what the meanings are.
I think Alejandro can explain better because he is in charge in the blends and everything. And Alejandro, I think you can make it better than me. You can explain about the different brands and how is the blend and etc.
Okay, yes, we will. We have we became with this idea because we were well known for making cigars since long time, other brands, but there wasn't any brand that could represent the name of the family, no. So that was something that we wanted to do, and we started first with well, we decided to call it Casa Turrent, and then we launched the first one, which was a Maduro cigar, of course, because it's what most people would expect from Mexico. Although I have to mention that the only that probably the one that represents more or the best the area. So we launched Casa Turrent, and then we realized while we were doing the blending that we had also other blends that were excellent and that we could also launch. So we launched first the Maduro line, and it was very, very well accepted in the market. Actually, it was in 2015, it was the best cigar on a Robusto size. It was the Robusto that was better rated in all that year in Cigar Aficionado magazine. So that was a very motivating thing. So we developed the other two lines, and since we wanted to let the people know, let the consumer know that that it's a family business and that we are all behind it, and that we have this heritage, we decided to name each of the different lines on behalf of our birth dates. No, my grandfather's 1901, that was the first one. 1942, on behalf of my father's, and 1973. No, and that was how we started. So that's what's called Casa Turrent series. No, and then we launched the Casa Turrent, the line of Casa Turrent Origins, and that's a line that is represented by blends, which we believe give the main the main identity of each of the different countries or regions that tobacco gives. No, so for example, we have Casa Turrent Cuba. It's a cigar made with 100% tobacco of Cuban seed, no, grown in San Andres. So, and we believe that the Cuban seed tobacco that we grow in San Andres, it's quite similar to the one that is produced in Cuba. Then the Nicaragua, we are importing some tobacco leaves from Nicaragua, and we are using in a bigger proportion, in a big proportion in this line. So that gives a little bit more what many people are familiar with the taste of Nicaragua, a little bit more strength, basically. And by the way, it's a tobacco that blends excellent with our tobacco. That's one of the reasons why most people, or many people, use our tobaccos in Nicaragua, because it blends really well with that tobacco. And we got the Miami, which is not a tobacco country, but there's a lot of heritage, a lot of history regarding cigars in Miami, and we decided to launch that line for the more younger crowd. It's a milder cigar. It's more for for an everyday cigar. It represents more modernity, more youth. So and then we have the San Andres line under the Origins, which of course is 100% Negro San Andres. So that's a cigar that it's very unique. I bet you that you won't find anything like that in the market. It's a great taste, very unique. So that's the story about the Origins. And now, Casa Turrent 1880 is what we're featuring. And I will keep as long as we continue with the event, I will talk a little bit about it. So Miguel and Gerardo, they're going to let you see some of the tobacco fields that we have and some of the process that we do. This is a good time because we are growing and we are finished growing and finished harvesting Negro San Andres, and so they're going to show you a little bit of it. So Miguel, I don't know if you're ready. Gerardo,
You want to put yourselves on speaker view so that you see the whole picture here, guys. So if you go to speaker view, you'll get the whole picture. So Miguel and Gerardo, where are they?
Gerardo.
See something moving.
Yeah, I'm right here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh yeah. Yes. Well, I can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Hear him?
Okay, yep. I don't know if everybody is okay. So like Alejandro was telling you, this is part of the process from the tobacco barn. Right now, what you're seeing is the leaf that we're bringing from the fields. Right now, what we're doing is a priming of Negro San Andres, as Alejandro was saying. And right now, what you're gonna see is the way that we put the leaves over this kind of beds in the barn that we made, and then we start making a curl of the tobacco. You can see it. What they're doing right now is they're going leaf by leaf, putting it into the strings. Doing right now on the size that this plantation has, they're doing around 65 leaves per string. And what is going to happen is that they're going to put it face with face and back with back. So once the curing process starts, they don't get stick together. And after they finish, they start counting the amount of strings they made, and then they come over here. This is the way that we take it up. I don't know if you guys can see it and you can appreciate it. This is the way that we put the tobacco right over on the tobacco barn. And this process in here is gonna take around 30 days, so the tobacco is fully cured. The first 10 days are gonna be, we're gonna start smoking it, adding some wood so we can start adding the smoke and the heat and play with the moisture from the environment. I'm gonna show you how the barns are covered to allow the moisture from the natural moisture to come inside of it. This is the way that we cover all the traditional barns. And what's gonna happen is that playing with that moisture and with the heat that we add through the wood, that's the way that we're gonna start having the curing process on the tobacco. And remember, it's going to be around 35 days in here. I don't know if Alejandro, you want to chip in and add something?
No, well, if you can tell them about all the other tobaccos that we grow, what's the difference?
Okay, sorry about that. What you're going to see, I'm going to show you the kind of wood that we use right now, so as long as I can go through. And, well, what you're seeing is for Negro San Andres, right? Negro San Andres, this is the type of wood that we use. It's a typical wood from the area. It's already been cut in the amount of it, in the normal size, average size that we use. And, okay, so what you're going to see in here is that this is Negro San Andres. For Sumatra, what is going to change is that for the different type of primes that we have on Sumatra, for Negro San Andres, we only have 2 primes. That is first primes, that is the 4 leaves from the bottom. And then we take the 10 to 12 leaves that are left behind. That's the second priming in Negro San Andres. For Sumatra, what you're going to see is that we have 7 primes. Each of them consists of 3 to 4 leaves, depending on how we see it on the field. And after that, the difference is going to be that for the first and second prime mostly, and then the last 2 primes, we're going to cure it on a natural curing barn. And that is because those leaves, are going to give you a lot of filler and binder. And for the ones that we use as a wrapper, they're going to be cured in a controlled curing process that right now are empty. It's a shame that we couldn't show you that process, but mostly this is what we do in here for Negro San Andres. And for Sumatra, same time inside the barn, around 30 to 32, 33 days, depending on how we see it. And for Habana, it's going to be the same. For Habana seed, those days, that average range of days doesn't change in the curing process. I don't know if you want to add something else.
Well, I would like to talk something. Thank you, Gerardo. Most of all, he explained everything, after harvesting. I would like to talk about the varieties, as Gerardo was saying. The difference, for example, with Sumatra and Negro San Andres will go usually mostly for the premium market. Sumatra goes for the made market, machine-made industry. As Alejandro was saying before, most of our most important clients are in Nicaragua and Dominican Republic. I also would like to announce that Fuente is our new client again. He used to buy a lot of tobacco from San Andres from this area many years ago, and I got a conversation with him about 3 weeks ago. He's very enthusiastic to buy again Negro San Andres from Mexico, Habana seeds, and even Sumatra. And the Negro San Andres is also used in a very small amount for machine, but very, very, very small amount. Sumatra, as I said, is mostly for the machine made. Our biggest clients are JTI, STG, Swedish Match is becoming a new client as well. And we also have two type of Habana seeds. We have what we call Habana Mexico, that is a mix between Habana 2000 and Criollo 98, and it is used mostly for wrappers, and it is used mostly at our factory. And as well, we have Habana 2000. We began a new project last year, trying to get mostly fillers out of it. We begin the crops, with seedbeds by the beginning of May with Negro San Andres. We start harvesting at the end of August, beginning of September. We start transplanting Sumatra by the end of September. We will be finishing, let's say, by mid-April. And with Habana, we begin at the middle of January, okay? Also, I would like to say that, for example, the difference between Habana and Negro San Andres is very similar. The way we work with it, I mean, we top the tobacco depending on the amount of leaves. That's what Gerardo was saying. But with Sumatra, we let them to flower because we need the tobacco to be thinner because it goes mostly, as I said, for the machine made industry. So I also would like to say that in 1996, my uncle Alberto, he brought this guy from Cuba. His name is Emelio Espino. He's a genetics. He's one of the most famous genetics out of Cuba. He's the creator of the Havana 2000, Criollo 98, Corojo 2010, etc. And we have a work with them, with the Institute of Tobacco from Cuba, and the idea was to get some tolerance to the different diseases we have with our tobaccos here, and try to get the better quality that the industry needs, and of course the company needs. So that's something I just wanted to tell you, and it is my pleasure to be here, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation.
Miguel, before you go, can you show us you're in a valley, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you show us around so we can actually see the farm and see the hills? So we can just imagine what it's like to be in a warm climate, please.
Okay, this is a Negro San Andres plantation. It has 62 days since we planted. It's going to be harvested maybe in about, let's say, in about 8 days. It depends on the maturity of the tobacco. We have to test as well the chlorophyll. We try to do it to try to pick it the right way. Okay, here we already did the first prime. Maybe you could see it in the bottom leaves. We clean it already, so we are just waiting to get it ready for the second and third prime. So this is the San Andres Tobacco area, Valley. They call it San Andres Tobacco Valley. Here we have around 300 hectares, and we try to rotate every year, at least 2 years, in order to get good quality tobaccos. And as well as soon as we finish harvesting, we add it's called a mucuma. It's like a bean that it helps the soil and the land in order to get nitrogen, and a lot of it adds a lot of organic bacteria to the land.
How tall will those plants become, Miguel?
Sorry?
How tall will the tobacco plant become?
Okay, this is Negro San Andres. Okay, so Negro San Andres, this will be, I mean, the normal size, the normal tall. As you can see here, this tobacco was topped. Topped, it means that you have to cut before the flower comes. Okay, you have to top it, and you have to count the amount of leaves. So for this type of tobacco, as well for Habano, we need it so the tobacco gets thicker and gets wider. For Sumatra, we don't top it. The Sumatra, you could have plants up to 300.5 meters, more or less.
No, I asked that question on purpose because normally when you see a tobacco plant and people in a field, it's the same height, 5 or 6 foot tall. But it's important that people realize how short and
this is shorter, the Negro.
Nutrition has to go into the leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, because for Negro San Andres, we need it to get thicker because it gets more quality. I mean, not if it is too much. I mean, if it is too thick, I mean, maybe the quality will go down. But I mean, it needs to be thicker and wider.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Has anybody got any questions for Miguel? Well, and Gerardo, while they're here with us just now in the fields? It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Miguel, could you explain why San Andres so special? Why the soil is different? How the soil is different, and why the climate conditions are unique, so we can grow a different type of tobaccos?
Well, the thing is that this area in San Andres, we have around, it's volcanic soil. We have more or less 150 volcanoes around the area. So that makes the soil special. And as Alejandro was saying, what makes San Andres special is the humidity, the temperature, because, I mean, you have different, for example, when you talk about Nicaragua, in Nicaragua, you will get wrappers, but to get a wrapper, you need to shade the tobacco. The advantage here in San Andres is that you don't need to shade the tobacco. Okay, that's one of the things. And of course, you need to have, for example, they call it the lowest temperature during the night and the highest temperature during the day. That gives you an idea in a place where you could get wrapper. For example, Dominican Republic. Okay, Dominican Republic, they don't get wrappers because the difference between those temperatures is really short. So Dominican Republic is most a country for fillers. Okay, Nicaragua, for example, you get wrappers as well that are no shade, but it's mainly for fillers. For example, in Cuba, the west part of the island, it's Pinar del Rio, all those areas. It's where they have good weather conditions, similar to San Andres, or San Andres similar to Cuba. Okay, for wrappers. The center and the east is more for fillers. Okay, and for other type of tobaccos. So what makes San Andres special? It's that you can produce, because of the type of soil, the type of temperature, and the humidity, you could get most of it. You will get wrappers out of it, and the taste of the Negro San Andres. I don't know if you notice, and you are noticing. Alejandro was saying it's sweet. It's the type of land that we have here. It really adds a good taste, but I mean mainly it's sweet taste, and as well the ash is really white because of the soil conditions that are volcanic. The origin is volcanic.
I would add also the combustion. No, it's a very good
combustion. The combustion is
tobacco,
very good.
All the tobacco, no, that we produce has a very good combustion, very good burning.
Yeah, it's all you will see. I mean, usually it's a really good combustion, but it's the mix between the land and the environment that we have here.
Alejandro, how much tobacco do you grow?
Miguel,
we are growing. For example, this year we're going to do 150 hectares of Negro San Andres, 150 hectares of Sumatra. And we are willing to do more or less 20 hectares of Habano, and that is because we have the necessities of the factory, and as well as I mentioned with Carlito Fuente, he's willing to buy some, so maybe we will increase a little bit with Habano, but more or less it's like 330 hectares per year.
Fantastic. And Miguel, when I was in the factory last year, I saw a gentleman from a cigarette company. You grow tobacco for cigarette companies as well, don't you? For Camel cigarettes.
Yeah, it's JTI. They are buying the Sumatra wrapper for a Camel product that they have, and they use the natural wrapper over the cigarette.
So it's an amazing operation, and I know people in the comment are joking about wanting to go to Mexico. I can say it's worth it. Believe me, it's amazing. These gentlemen look after you, but the whole scale of the operation just is incredible. And I'm just trying to read these questions. Okay.
Thank you.
One thing that I would add, Scott and everybody, is that the Negro San Andres, it's a seed, it's a tobacco that cannot be reproduced anywhere else. So that's what also makes it special. You know, there have been some people who have tried to grow it in other places, Nicaragua, etc., and they haven't been successful. So it's basically it basically belongs to San Andres, no? So that's what only can be grown there for different reasons. Probably Miguel can tell you, but well, we discuss about the special characteristics of the soil and climate. But that's what also makes it special. For example, it's like the difference is, for example, Cuban seeds, no? That those are produced in all places, no? In Nicaragua, in the Dominican Republic, Honduras, etc. No, and in some places they taste quite similar, and the tobacco can be reproduced, can grow there, and it's not the case with the Negro. No, Negro can be only produced in San Andres.
Yeah, that's true. I heard some people trying to do as well some Negro San Andres in Ecuador, but the conditions of Ecuador, it did good on the fields, but when it went for curing and the taste of the tobacco was really neutral. So as Alejandro was saying, and as I said before, the unique conditions of soil, humidity, and temperature, that's what makes Negro San Andres special and unique to be planted only in San Andres. And as he said, they've been trying to do it in different places, but that's why I talk about Nicaragua and Dominican Republic as an example. I could say also as well Honduras, because I know Cristian Airoa tried to do something there. But the unique conditions and the unique quality of the tobacco is here from San Andres.
How many people, Miguel, are working on the farm?
So we have daily working around 400 to 500 people daily. It depends because we are harvesting, and as well we start transplanting Sumatra 3 weeks ago. So daily we have like between 400 and 400 and 500 people working on the fields, and at the sorting we have 350 people working on sorting, fermentation, etc.
Miguel, the soil, the tobacco burns very well because the soil is very rich with potassium. That is a
Potassium
natural
as well.
potassium. Yes,
And
for the
and
volcano soils. Yes.
From the volcano, yeah, that's what I was trying to
Yes.
explain. Yeah.
For that reason,
Yes.
this here is a white and burns very well.
Well, listen, guys, this has been fascinating. I'm also conscious that Paul's sitting here in Key West, waiting his turn to get involved. So we'll come back to Turrent. What I'd like to do is talk about the rum. I found it absolutely fascinating. And if people have got questions that they think about with the farm or the curing barn or whatever, put them into the chat room, and then we'll come back to Miguel and the guys. Okay. So over to you, Paul. You describe yourself, and I'm going to have to read this because I can't remember it all. You describe yourself as a kite surfer, legal rum distiller, chef, restaurateur, instructor, author, and entrepreneur. Well, what comes first?
That's the way they describe me. I'm just bored, and I like to find interesting things to do. Yeah, you know, it comes from being that kid in school that was always raising his hand and making the teachers nuts and wanting to know everything. When I found when I get involved with something, which I was taught from a lot of great teachers, if I have a passion for it, and if you have a passion for it, you want to know everything about it. So it's really combining all these things that I've been pretty lucky to do throughout my life. A lot of travel with the kiteboarding, working as a chef for 30 years, everywhere from training in France and Spain to working in Ecuador and, and different places in Argentina and stuff. Being able to see that mixture and then bring it back home here to Key West. It keeps it. I just think, as Alejandro said and everything, it's what sets you apart to make things unique that you can't get anywhere else. Really, these days, there's more appreciation for craft. I really think the beer guys led the charge with that and opened it up for us. Getting a spirits license is much more difficult. People thought it was impossible down here. As many people, we are a drinking town with a tourist problem. You would have thought there would have always been a distillery here, and there wasn't. So being the first at doing something definitely had its challenges. You'll hear the term used with me quite often, idiot. I really embrace my inner idiot as putting barrels in the ocean. I was told that was just the most ridiculous idea ever, and I kept asking why until I just did it. Now we've made quite a name for ourselves. But as Alejandro said and Miguel, you have to have certain conditions around you to be able to do stuff like that. So as we're chatting, I'm going to throw the camera around and we'll take a quick walk.
How'd you fit everything in?
Yeah, series of naps, I would say. Not much sleep. This is obviously we're in a same time zone as Miguel and these guys, but very camera doesn't do too much. If you look right down the end of that street and it looks blue, because that's the ocean. So that's the Gulf of Mexico right here at the distillery. We're in a very low-lying area, so we are below sea level here. So we flood a lot. You dig 2 feet into the earth, and you receive salt water. So I hope that you're going to notice if you've had the bad bitch, the bottle or your sampler has been open. It really, like a red wine, the more it stays open, the more it starts to change and it gets richer and you start to notice other things. It's really interesting with that one because in the barrels, like these here that you can see with the red stripe on them, we're pulling out what's called polyphenols. Those polyphenols are what get flavor. What I do very differently is, you might see my science kit over here. This is where I do all my mad science type of stuff that they call it here. It really, we change pH level. Right now in a barrel like this, probably if I were to pull some of the rum out, and really like screwing with the ferment here. You're supposed to write specific numbers on the barrel. I like to write things that are going on when it happens, and they get really annoyed when they come in for our inspections of all the different things that I write on the barrels, and I think it just keeps it a little more interesting. That guy here, we have a ghost in the distillery, so we put a picture of him up because he tends to be a little bit messed up. If you look at these right here, these are a bunch of bad bitch barrels, which one right here is what the guys got on their pallet on the way out. Those lines are from Hurricane Irma when this distillery was knee deep underwater. But as you'll see, everything is on wheels here. Here's our spirit still and our stripping still. You'll see two stills. A lot of people ask why two stills. They think we're trying to go faster. Actually, it's to go slower. In the still that's right over here, that one, we strip the alcohol out and we're left with this oily impurity. Our fermentations, it also comes from the copper in the still. Once we can isolate that, if anybody's ever had a hangover, those oils are what give you a hangover. So once I can take that out, then I'll distill it in this still, and you're going to see ports and still. These still had design in Louisville, Kentucky, to my specific specs, the way I wanted it. So each one of those chambers, the vapor is going to rise, and there's a plate in there. You can see there's 6 of them. So I'll let it go through usually 6 distillations. That's where that number comes from. We don't run the still 6 separate times. We actually use those ports and let it bubble up, and only the purest stuff makes it to the top. This stripping still is really the workhorse because of what's going on. As you can see, too, there's some... we have a tour going on in here right now because we let people come in, but we're constantly at work. This is the old Coca-Cola bottling factory from 1903. They used to bottle in that window where we're actually doing some of the bottling right now. In a second, I'll be able to show you the barrels, but you'll notice things like maybe you can see salt on the barrel tops. These stains here are from the potassium from the salt. I really like history, and I researched a lot in the ship logs of why they would have salt on top of the barrels. And because of this evaporation, I'm sure you've all heard of the thing share. Well, the angels in Key West are drunks, and they steal a lot because it's the temperatures here are very warm, and we have a constant expansion and contraction with our barrels. And what I mean by that, how are you? So I'm going to try to get you a good view here that I'll get you the right angle. This is the inside of the barrel. This barrel specifically, I work with this company. They have a patent now on their barrel, so I could actually put this clear lid. That's a white light behind it. This alcohol has been in here for about 90 days. So you can see it'll get dark right away. They have a lot of cross cuts in the barrel, trying to get you a good view, and you'll see the honeycombs. This is because we have so much expansion and contraction here that we want it to be circulating that alcohol in and out of the barrels at all times. You can see even, we're constantly, these are our fermentation tanks. This bubbling going on here means that the yeast is alive. We use a top fermenting yeast. If you try the raw and unfiltered at any point in the future, I would suggest you can either have it with figs and a truffle cheese. This yeast has a predominant truffle being found in it, in the notes, and it really balances well with a truffle cheese, which a lot of people are very surprised about. We're constantly trying to create new things. We have a lot of successes, Sometimes we have some mistakes. As you can see here, we're actually working on a sparkling rum project that we're using rum aged in 15-year-old champagne barrels. And we're actually doing the champenoise method with the rum at about 11%. It's really interesting. But the cool thing is you find out how hot it is and you get explosions and everything. When that bottle blew up the other day and some of these other ones did, there was a tour going on and a lot of people ran, which I kind of get a kick out of. It's kind of neat to mess with the tourists every once in a while. And as you see around here, like I said, now the difference is with the guys in Mexico is they have an immense amount of property. I was really impressed. I didn't realize I've kited by that area, done some kiteboarding in Veracruz. Here, we're about a mile wide, so about a kilometer and a half wide, our island, and about 6 kilometers long. So we are really on an island. I can get to Cuba quicker than I can get to Miami or the mainland of the United States. And like I said, we bring a lot of these barrels in from the Burgundy region. I go over, I make a lot of trips with the sparkling stuff. For example, just to show you all these bottles that are sitting. Never see anything like this because nobody's ever done sparkling rum. So right now, this is how we're riddling the bottles. We have to keep them under temperature because it's so warm here. And you can see when it's finished, we're corking it, same as champagne. Pretty nice. I think possibly the guys over there we're gonna be working on something with that. But really, the goal is with Paul and the guys over there is we would like to do some stuff in their area, salt cure the barrels there, and do some finishing in your proverbial neck of the woods to kind of see what we can do and create some new flavors, because you're never going to get this flavor anywhere else in the world. Alejandro said it perfect, that you will never get this flavor in the world anywhere but Key West or anywhere like they have there, only because of the conditions. You're not going to get the sea salt. Most people don't have an ocean right next to their distillery. So I've had people in like Jim Beam III and other people that have come in to really check out what we're doing. And it's unique because it's a labor of love. We do everything by hand. These labels you see flapping around here, there's somebody, was myself this morning, that labels the bottles that you have. We don't have machines to do that. A lot of times on these stills, you have machines to tell you what's going on. Nothing can taste better than a tongue. It's just, I don't believe, I like machinery, I like computer equipment and stuff like that. You can see some of the leftover of the rum I have from this morning that comes out of here. Always this is our kind of blessing well, we like to call it, that we bless ourselves with. It's a constant amount of tasting, checking out the barrels. We never really stop here. It's kind of like a bit of a hamster wheel. And if you guys have any questions, please go ahead.
You've been distilling rum for 8 years. What made you start in 2012?
One of the things that made me start was nobody was doing it. There really wasn't anybody distilling rum in Key West. So, that was the curiosity of doing it. And after doing restaurants down here for so long, to do something unique and original, it was kind of one of those challenges you decide to go into. A lot of people expected me to fail. They didn't see me. They never saw me drunk. At the bar, I might only be hold a beer or one can listen to music, but they said, why? And it's because I didn't invite them to my house to have a very nice bottle of rum or a nice bottle of scotch that cost me $120 because I'm not sharing. So I just go out. Alcohol gives me very strong headaches. So my goal was, if I'm going to produce something, I want to do it without leaving anybody with a headache. And that's what I've accomplished. We're actually going to be bottling our high proof now that goes into the barrels and offering it to people because people come and try it during the tours and they actually like it. So we took a big risk and we did it. There was an advertisement in the beginning. It said, idiot or genius. What idiot would put a chef in charge of a distillery? And, you know, we've been able to sit there and kind of prove them wrong and right at the same time.
Where did the idea for salt?
It comes from cooking. If you've ever had a cured fish or cured meats, if you've had like a beef jerky, it's very strong in flavor. It's because all the fresh water has been evaporated. Fresh water is a bacteria. If all the people you have on this, I come over to England and I go, hey, I'm cooking everybody a steak, and I soak it in water for 24 hours, and I throw it on the grill. Besides everybody wanting their money back, they're like, you're probably the worst chef I've ever had something to eat with. It's because fresh water, it won't make it go rotten, but it eats all the enzymes of flavor. So in my head, for us, water comes from 163 miles away from here. But the ocean is a half a block away from me. And I was like, why don't we just fill it with salt water? So, and also to get that brine going on, to get rid of the fresh water out of the barrel. I believe the fresh water in a barrel cost you about anywhere from 6 months. I've been able to prove it to about 9 months of aging time that you have to wait additionally for the alcohol to get into the wood and get those really unique flavors. So it's become a staple for us, and really it's changed the way people look at rum when they come and try our rum. Our rum's definitely going to be very unique, and I like having it and trying it with other rums just to see that there's differences. Nothing has to be better than something else. It's the differences, I think, that really intrigue our palates to want to try things. Like I told you, truffle cheese. Like imagine somebody saying, hey, you're going to have some of this rum with a little bit of cheese with some truffle in it. We're trying to bring rum with the sparkling rum and some other things we're doing to the dinner table. Normally when we think of rum, it's that guy wearing a lampshade with the tiki thing on and woo, and we don't want to see him until well after dinner because he's a pain in the ass, you know, but we want to start to incorporate it with some foods. I mean, cigars, this has really worked out well. We don't have the option to grow tobacco here. If you don't tell anybody, I actually was telling Alejandro, I have some Cuban seeds that I brought back from Cuba that I'm growing in my backyard, obviously with a bit of a struggle. But having places right across the Gulf from us to be able to get something like that and putting these together, it's become another adventure for us because there's, you know, really something different to be had all the time. And we're never going to stop. And like I said, lots of mistakes are made, but that's how we figure out really what the good things are.
Got a Demerara, I can say it, is important in your recipe.
Yeah, our sugar really, I try to tell people, again, I know it's going to be a lot of cooking references, but it's what I do. Think of extra virgin olive oil when you're going to cook. You want to have that. You want to have the best you can. Demerara Sugar, which is produced here in our sugarcane fields on the mainland in Florida, took them 10 years to develop. And it was developed for bakers because it's very high in mineral content. You heard Alejandro's father talk about the potassium from the sun, and also our aquifer in Florida makes the sugarcane really unique. So they came up with this crystal process that's the first pressing. So you have sugarcane juice, they move it into a room, and then they seed it. Whatever crystal, which is only about 15%, they pull aside, and that's what I get. Most rums are made with molasses. Okay, nothing wrong with molasses. Well, that's when rum was first created. Molasses was a byproduct. It was given to people for iron, cattle feed, and as long as you could ferment it and make something to drink that didn't make you go blind, everybody was good with it. You know, in more days as we've come and we're embracing science with doing all this, the Demerara sugar is really what gives us a pear flavor. If you ever have a chance to try our clear, our base for everything, pear flavor, butterscotch nose, very unique style thing. So yeah, the Demerara is really huge because it really affects what you're getting to taste right now, because the barrel is the finisher, but your base that we make of this rum is really the difficult part to put something together. And that's why I really think that Bad Bitch and that Maduro cigar are probably a nice, really nice pair together.
In terms of where you're selling your rum, is export a new market for you?
You're the only place in the world. Yeah, you're the only place in the world that's getting it right now. It's sold here at the distillery, limited in Florida, and nowhere else in the world except with Paul and the guys over there. So yeah, so you can't. It's it's very difficult for us to do high production like these big factories. So we're very particular of what we want to do with it. And Paul and the guys were really kind of wanting to be particular of a product they could bring over. So, it worked as a really good match. You guys are going to have something that's handmade and unique. I can guarantee you that I made that rum. Nobody else did. I'm the primary distiller here. So even if I did go kiteboarding today or go spearfishing and get some lobster, that just means I'm working in the evening and stuff to do it. And it's a lot of pride, because I want people to enjoy something different, with whatever they're doing and whatever they're trying. And I think that's part of the exploring with our taste buds, to really you can travel around the world these days just by pouring something out of a glass or having a nice puff on a cigar.
It's quite interesting because I know that Alejandro's family they've experimented with a fantastic tequila, and we brought it over to Liverpool last year for some sampling when we launched with Alejandro's team. So you do have something in common, gentlemen, about you're also spirit makers, yeah?
Well, and I do once a year, I do a tequila. And I have some that's 4 years old sitting in a barrel. So I think me and Alejandro have come up with a solution of how I'm going to come over to Mexico, and I'm going to bring some tequila.
We should get together, of course. Yeah, we have to do something.
Yeah.
No, I only know how to drink tequila. I honestly don't know anything about processing or distilling any spirit, but it sounds fantastic, Paul. Really does. Congratulations.
We just finished ours. Yeah, we finished ours in a rum barrel, but the agave came from Jalisco. It came right from Mexico. That's where I got it. So I mean, we're the finisher. You're the starter.
What I would say with Alejandro's tequila, it's the closest I've been to a malt whiskey tequila. I know that's a really strange thing to say, but it's just absolutely stunning and neat. It's not got all this rubbish that.
Paul. Yeah, I mean, Paul reminded me something when he was talking about that his rum is not that rum that many people are used to to drink. I guess he meant like in cocktails or just like that. No, it's really his rum. It sounds very special. And I had an issue when I started with our tequila, because people when they heard the word tequila, right away the first reaction was no, thank you, because probably it reminded them the worst hangover that they had in their lives, because probably they had it cheapest tequila with in a margarita or whatever, and that's terrible. That's not 100% tequila for sure, So it took me a while to convince people. Well, not too much, but some people, some people were a little bit skeptical, and they try it, and once they try it, they said, "Hey, this is wonderful." And I said, "Yes, because this is 100% tequila. It comes from the tequila not the tequila region, the tequila county, where the tequila started, and the water there gives a lot of has to do a lot with the flavor. I don't know, correct me, Paul, if I'm wrong, but I think it has to do a lot with it, and also, of course, the way that you age the tequila, etc. So people just love it, and the main thing about it is that we made it especially to pair with our cigars, to marry, not just like that, So it took us a while to develop it, and we believe we achieved one of the greatest tequila flavors that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, and it's that volcanic rock there in the aquifer is really what makes that agave so unique, that they've tried to reproduce it in the United States, in Texas, and other places, and they can't do it. They really can't do it. I mean, a lot of times they say water is life. We like to say water is life. Rum's 60% water, so enjoy life, but it really makes a difference of what's going on and what you're going to mix and stuff like that. So
no, I find also rum a very good a spirit to enjoy with cigars. However, let me just explain. Let me tell you a short story about how I started with the tequila. One customer enjoyed very much the tequila, and actually one brand called Don Julio Reposado. It's like, let's say, like half-aged, right? So every time that I was visiting him, he would ask me to bring a lot of bottles. So one time we had an event, and we pair different spirits with different cigars. So we had tequila, scotch, rum, cognac, brandy, whatever, and we had different cigars from different places. Cubans, Mexicans, Nicaraguans. Anyway, so it was a really, really nice coincidence that the ones that pair better were the tequila with our cigars. So, and it doesn't have to do with the region or the climate or anything. It was just a nice coincidence. So then is when I started to think about making our own tequila. That's okay. El Jefe. That's good.
We're not allowed to call it tequila here. We get in trouble. So it's called.
That's right.
Yeah. El Jefe was our fire chief who, let's just say, sold a bit of marijuana and did a few other things, and eventually got caught at the fire station and disappeared. And nobody knows where he is today. So, but no, you're right. I think the combination of certain things you should really have from certain areas, and then what you do to finish them can really change the complexity of it. And and I love it. Every week I'm discovering something new, and we're always trading in the spirit industry with different things and foods and stuff. And like I said, I can't wait for a visit over there, so I can it's amazing to visit a tobacco farm. I think just to even smell in the air, you understand what's going on with the tobacco, and to walk into the tobacco house is another thing. I have some barrels that I brought back some tobacco that I have some rum aging with the tobacco inside the barrel, and it's actually put such a spicy note on the rum. It's going to be very interesting in about another year.
So next time
we have to try it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Next time you're kite surfing down in Veracruz.
Oh yeah. Well, if we can get all this, people don't understand. During this whole pandemic, we made sanitizer for 3 months. I just ran the stills super high, and I added some glycerin to it, a little bit of peroxide, and away we went. And we supplied all the Florida Keys with about 18,000 bottles worth of sanitizer, and we did that for free because nobody had money here. But once this is, what we're waiting for is it to be over, because, by spring I want to come kite in England. You guys have some very good kiting, and I want to mix some things, and we want to get back into the kind of the normalcy of stuff. But people don't realize, man, what you're doing, what everybody's doing right now, you're all fully sanitized. So you're already beating the virus just by having some rum. So.
Listen, sadly, we're coming up to the close of the evening. So guys, I hope you're enjoying your cigars, and I hope you're enjoying your rum. If you've got questions, this is the time before we close down in 10 minutes and you go, I want to ask that question. Get them into the chat room and we'll get you on to speak to the guys. But Paul, what's the future? What's next on I'm not going to recite that list again because it just makes me tired to think of all the things you do. But what's the future? Is rum your future, or just a little bit of it?
No, rum's the future. I'm producing a little bit with another family out of Champagne. I am producing some champagne. We're doing the fermentations in my 3-year-old rum barrels. So it'll be the first time that Champagne's given a nod to something like this. But yeah, just looking for some other space now to pile up some barrels. I think Paul was saying he had a place somewhere outside of Liverpool that I could store 150 or 200 barrels. He was just going to give me the place. Something about a castle. So I'm looking forward to that as I come over. And yeah, it's really the focus is going to be rum. Rum's really emerged into the market, but to do what we want to do, it takes hands. So we're going to train some more people, but we're not going to rush it. So it's going to be very limited where we're really going to go to with it and stuff. And I think that's part of the joy. And I think Alejandro's going to agree that, you know, how you spread your seed, you know, too many seeds, not a good product anymore.
Yeah. And Alejandro, the same question over to you, sir. This is your company's, your family's 140th anniversary, which is some achievement. Yeah. So what's the plans? What's the short term? What's the long term? What's next? Or are you going to keep it all a big secret from us?
Well, since this is the almost the end of the event, I just want to let you know that, well, as we mentioned, and it's something I would like you to, all of you, to remember, that this is a family business, that we've been in the same area growing our tobacco in our own farms since 1880. We're fifth generation, Miguel, Gerardo, and we are trying to do all the best we can. And we are, as you know, we have different businesses. One is the tobacco operation, which means that we grow tobacco for other factories, and we have the cigar production, cigar factory. So those are two businesses completely different. They don't have anything to do with each other. In general, no. But since many years already, we have teamed up, and we have decided to do what is best, to grow what is best for the factory, in terms of the tobacco seeds, in terms of the fields where they have to be grown to get a better taste, to do the first fermentation a little bit different than what we are used to as tobacco growers, because it's different to be a tobacco grower than a cigar maker. When you're a tobacco grower, you're looking for other things. You're looking for appearance, for example, and that's what you sell. When you're making cigars, of course, you're looking also for the appearance on the wrappers, but you're mainly looking for the taste. So that's something that we have worked very hard together, to achieve that, to get the best of the best from our own tobacco, And well, it's a big challenge to keep doing it, every time, every day, every year. And well, what's next? Just to compromise, to commit with all the consumers to get the same quality, the same taste every time they smoke our cigars.
So I'm not seeing too many questions. So basically, I'm going to thank Paul from Key West for everything tonight and for taking us around your fantastic factory. Next time we're over that way, we now know where we're coming. And hopefully, when you do come to the UK, we'll I'm sure with Paul, we'll organise a cigar partnership for you to pair with. And then Alejandro, Alberto, Miguel, Giaro, thank you so much for sharing everything with us tonight and taking us to Mexico, giving us a bit of sunlight, but also I think dispelling a lot of preconceived ideas that maybe people came with. And I think the cigars are superb. The size of your operation is superb, and I think you as a family are such a welcoming family. So we wish you every success, and we thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you for your time. We enjoy with all these people that love the cigars. And give my regards and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Your time. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. I hope you got some of the feeds that I sent you from inside the barns. And it was our pleasure. And we hope to see you soon here in Mexico visiting us. And as always, be safe with all that it's going around.
So much. And last of all, thank you to Paul, AJ, and Mitchell for allowing us to take over your room tonight. And I hope that everybody's enjoyed themselves. I certainly have. I've been to
I thought it was absolutely the most excellent tasting event. Probably the best one that we've done, Scott. And obviously, we're not just doing them with you; we're doing them with others. And we've had some great events, but this was just so educational and so interesting. And thanks to Alberto, Alejandro, Gerardo. Thanks so much for going into such detail.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Absolute pleasure. And also, many thanks, Paul. It's been really very nice meeting you virtually. I've been very impressed since I knew and found out that you named your rum after my ex-wife, and she was a bad bitch. So,
Correct.
Glad we had some success out of her finally. And thanks everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
And Mitchell, I had no idea your wife was called Raw.
Wow.
After the divorce.
Ex-wife. Can you edit that, please, AJ? Edit it.
I will. I'll focus just on that bit and take all the other information.
Cool. Well, thank you very much indeed, guys.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, guys.
Our next week will be a fortnight's time, so go to the C.Gars website and look for the Davidoff Robusto Intenso.
Thank you so much. Brilliant.
There'll be some more events into Christmas listed next week. And La Flor Dominicana with Scott is... Scott, you got the date there?
It's Hoya de Nicaragua.
Hoya de Nicaragua. Yeah. We just...
19th of November. 19th of November. You've been drinking too much, lad.
Look forward to meeting everybody again soon.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.